Hello, everyone. We're back with one of our summer episodes with Brenda. Welcome, my friend. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How's it going for you?
I actually looked it up, and last time we officially caught up for the podcast was a year ago, and we
Mhm.
didn't even plan this. So this is a mandatory catch up
Yeah.
year after.
When was the
Uh,
last time we actually seen each other?
well, in person, oh my God, I can't remember. It's your fault because you don't come back to Chicago.
I'm actually coming back next week, so we can definitely catch up if you guys want to catch up.
Blue save. Oh, that's awesome. So obviously, like we're friends, and we're so happy to have you back in the podcast. I think you are one of our speakers that had freshly graduated and had a very successful story to share, landing at Microsoft,
Mhm.
especially being an intern there before, and then you're also doing a lot in the community aspect of it. We said in your episode, it feels like you've been doing this forever because you're everywhere and you've built so much already, but it's
Mhm.
only your first year officially after, in the workforce, right? Has it been
Mhm.
here in your
It's
role?
already actually my work anniversary was the 21st. So it's been 5 days.
Oh my God, happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Did you get a little
Many
treat?
more years to come.
Yes, manifesting as many years as you would like to
Mhm.
remain in the workforce.
Mhm.
Awesome. I've been okay. I've been good. It was end of year for us, end of fiscal year. So, very busy. July usually is. But I did manage to get a little tan. So I did look at the episode, right? And I was like, so I was 10 when I talked to Brenda too. That is how I remember my episodes. So 1 year, it sounds like you survived in your role as a PM, security PM at Microsoft. Do you want to talk to us a little bit high level before we go into it, how it's been for you? What does that role for anyone who hasn't seen the episode so far? What does a security PM mean as a role description, and what do you actually do?
So back when I started as an intern, it was quite a little bit different on like how we saw as like or people saw us as PMs. Um, it has to do with tracking as like one of our factors in this position. However, once we have like got into full time, or at least once I got into full time, that's when they have started evolving these roles. And instead of calling us as security program managers, we're thinking as security assurance. And with that being said, most of that has to do with making sure that you're well aligned with who you're teaming up with. This would be like your engineer team, because on my side, I can give like a just an overview of like what I am currently doing without saying what I'm doing, since mine has like very confidential areas of like what exactly I do.
Yeah.
But I am managing this one program, and
Hmm.
in this program, I have vendors, and these vendors are external companies from Microsoft. And we manage security reviews that happen ongoing depending on when they need them, because there are specific releases that they end up doing. And this is before they release, like, let's just say it's like an update, right? And before an update, you want to release, you want to make sure everything is good. Like, you have people from different teams, because since companies do collaborate with Microsoft, they also want to make sure that on their end everything is aligned, which comes with either the security side saying like, hey, we have this mini drop going on. Can you make sure this is good on your end with the evidence of like threat models, architecture diagrams, anything specific that will at least give us more um, kind of context so that we can sign off and be like, hey, this is good. You guys are good to go. You guys can go ahead in your next drop. And that's kind of like how it works. Right now, it's in like early stages. If anything, this is like my current project now, because around May, this is when I like started being full on hands with it. And with that, now I'm actually trying to like change as much as I can because it came like to me as like something new. And also, it was in development too. So people still don't know about this in my org, which is why I am kind of like the person that owns this work stream. And it's kind of like trying to make some change with it so that it also impacts my teams. Like it impacts like what I have in my team. And of course, what my VP or CVP would think like, hey, like, why do we need this? So, yeah, that's like kind of
Yeah,
something what I'm doing on my end.
a lot of people don't realize how relevant is, how important it is to talk about, why is the product you're building important? You have to kind of like build reasoning why your job is important. In security, that happens a lot, especially when it comes to securing budget. The board talks to each other, right? And they budget moves around all the time from one department to the other. So it's always important to have a justification ready and tie whatever you're working on back to the business and how that makes money for the company, or somehow it helps the company align with one of those initiatives. So I'm glad you called that out.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay, well, how has it been? 1 year there. Do you feel like a pro now? They say it takes 1 year to learn your job. I figured. I don't know what I'm doing, so
I
that's
mean, like the first year, you're just kind of getting the fundamentals of like where your org is at, like what is basically your org. I feel like once you get an understanding of where you're coming from, why things are the way it is, that's at least something that I would want to know first year. But the thing is, work-wise, it's always changing. So it's not like I'm in a comfortable zone right now. It's more like I'm just adapting a lot. And when it comes to adapting, it kind of sets you some uncomfortability with that. But at the same time, it is good to have as a very like a skill because not everything is going to be where you want it to be. Like even if you're working on like something you really want to work on, like you will like probably change soon, depending on like what happens, right? For me, it was kind of like sudden, and of course, like I didn't expect it. Some of them I didn't expect, but this was when we like reorg fully and we kind of had verticals. But I think this one was definitely something I really enjoy now. Even though I enjoy like the last projects that I had, this one, however, was probably like currently my favorite one just because I own this work stream, and with owning the work stream, I get to kind of like put my hands dirty around it. And even with the ask that I have asked my manager saying like, hey, you know, I want to make sure that as a PM, I'm like having this like customer like success role where it's like I'm communicating with people and making sure that everything is kind of like met and engaged. And they made sure that that is like one of the main goals that I want as a PM. So yeah.
awesome. How have your relationships developed internally with different stakeholders? Last time we talked, we were given an overview of who do you interact with on a daily, weekly basis, who are your stakeholder. A lot of it is internal, right?
Mhm,
Different developers, different tech leads, engineering. Talk
mhm,
to us a little bit about how, kind of now that you're more comfortable in the role, how have you changed in relation to when communicating to these stakeholders, right?
mhm. Yeah, so in my role, I know previously I did say, uh, I believe I talked to tech leads and of course like some engineers, but for this one specifically, I am really like close with my tech lead, and I sometimes talk to my co-lead, my PM co-lead, because some of our work is like completely different to each other, but we just kind of like check up to see like how we are doing and if there's anything that like we need help on, especially if like we need advice or so. For me, I've kind of been coming up to him for advice on like how I should build the story of like my work. And alongside that, I also work with some engineers. There's sometimes where I have to kind of step in and also help out with some ad hoc work, which kind of doesn't have to do with what I'm doing, but
Hmm.
at least it's something that I can learn more context of because our like vertical is very like technical. There's a lot of like sections that like we have covered that we kind of need to also make sure that we're pinpointing to because we do have different teams that come to us for security reviews and
Hmm.
um when they do, I also kind of pull myself over and be like, hey, like I want to like hear this meeting or even like try to see like what's going on, what's the context, so then I know what's going on in my team. So most of my time, day to day would be communicating with my tech lead and probably like a skip because he also like helps me out with some advice and like what I'm doing with
What's
my
a
program.
skip, Brenda? We might have people that don't realize what a skip is.
Oh, sorry. So this is the skip. The skip basically is like a manager, but after the manager is the skip
Skip
manager.
level, we call it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
For
But
students, right? For students, because I don't know. Oh, you're supposed to put meetings in the calendar with your skip level manager. Yeah, you should do that. Awesome. Sorry to interrupt.
mhm.
Do you finish your thought?
Oh yeah, I finished my thought. Sorry.
Awesome, awesome, perfect. We were so used to just talking in like sometimes jargon, acronyms, and we don't realize, for example, our audience can be, we've had like CISOs on, we've had students, we've had early in career, so we have to like be mindful of that every time, especially when we hear from experts like you, so. Awesome. Anything you want to highlight, maybe like your highest point or your favorite point, or whether it was a project, whether it was a something you learned about yourself you didn't know, but the role itself taught you that, oh my God, I work like this under pressure, or I didn't know you have to ask so many questions and talk to people, kind of like get their buy-in outside of the meeting before you head into the meeting. So like first year in the workforce realizations that you think, oh, I wish people had known that, so I can at least I can tell them now that don't learn it the hard way like me, but or maybe like lowest points as well, where you thought like, oh my God, is this should I pivot? Am I not meant to be a PM? Though I think you're like great at what you do, but maybe like some learnings like that that the first year in the workforce um, you faced.
hmm I feel
That's
like
very deep as a question.
yeah, because I know that back then I've used to be very like I wasn't very confident in like talking to other coworkers, especially who are above me,
Mm.
because it's like every time when you have a meeting with people, you got to make sure that you have questions ready in the back of your head because you guys can be meeting, yes, but at the same time you got to make sure that if you're setting up the meeting, you got to make sure that you have questions ready for them or if it's something that they are expecting for you, be prepared to kind of like answer whatever they have on their end too. So I feel like for me, I didn't feel as comfortable yet into like talking to people who I'm like working with close, not closely, but people who they kind of like suggest me to like reach out to just because it will help with what I'm looking for. So I think that was like probably like, oh well, what if like they think that I don't know anything, like but at the same time as new grads, like you're expected to not know as much, but at least you make sure that you're kind of learning through people who have been experienced for 5 or more years. So I think that's something that I think was my lowest for sure.
Mhm.
But my highest I would say is that everyone is very friendly towards one another. And I think with like the approach when it comes to me like meeting with people, they're all very open-minded and they all want to make sure that kind of like I'm aligned with what they have. Um, but my work ethic, I know that I kind of tend to do things somewhat last minute. And I kind of caught myself doing it because, I used to do that a lot back in college. I used to, yeah, last
I
minute
still
stuff.
do.
It's like, I still do too, but it's like at the same time, it adds more stress to me, and I think that's not what I want. And I feel like that's something that I want to make sure that I don't like get too stressed because it shouldn't be stressing you out, and I shouldn't be overworking myself too. So it's like I gotta make sure that I'm like meeting my own expectations and making sure I have things met before deadlines, or even a day earlier before deadlines sometimes, because I feel like it's best to come prepared like earlier than ever because you can catch up and to see like,
Yeah.
oh, well, I made a mistake in this, so let me just quickly fix it.
The constant struggle of, like, you know how they say, do you perform well under pressure? Like, yes, I do. Just that's why I tend to procrastinate and leave things till the last moment because that's when I excel. I know I'm gonna do perfect work. Whereas if I start early, but there's another reason why we might do that. So we don't have to touch on that now. But I love that you've kind of like used as an opportunity to set boundaries for yourself, and not burn out right away and force yourself to do things last minute. Especially as a PM, we talked last time how important time management is, um, and keeping everyone else on track. Okay, awesome. So I know you've been busy at Microsoft. What have you organized? Are you involved with the incoming interns, the new grads? I know there's no way you haven't done anything like the extracurriculars that like really builds the culture of the company. A lot of time is the that labor that is not considered as like it's a real important labor that if people like you and I don't put in, the culture doesn't build itself type of thing. Talk to
Mhm.
us a little bit about what you've been up to, planning, organizing, conferences maybe. I don't know. I remember you did a cool conference, but I'll let you touch on that.
Well, I'll get started with like some stuff that I've done outside of Microsoft at the moment. Well, first off was the conferences, of course. I went to SHIP and I got SHIP because my like the Microsoft teams were looking for people to be like sponsored. Well, yeah, basically sponsored to go there and help recruit or even like talk to people there. And I was chosen
Is
as
that one called? Like, what does it stand for?
Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers is what SHIP is. Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Okay.
So I went there and I was helping like them with the booth and kind of like talking to people. And what's funny is that majority of those people I already knew because I went last year.
Mhm.
And I remember when I was at the booth and like there was like a long line for me. And and
Is
then
the
the main people were like, "Oh, do you want to talk to these people here? Like, you know, they're open." They're like, "No, we want to talk to Brenda." And I'm like, "Oh gosh, okay."
you peak?
Yeah. So they're like, "Oh, wow, you seem to have a crowd of people for your side." And I'm like, "I guess so." I mean, yeah, and that's one. Another one was Grace Hopper, and
Oh my
that
God, yes,
yes,
yes.
we did see each
So,
other there, and
yeah.
that was when I was helping you guys out with the Raices booth. But I also went there just because they were giving away tickets to alumni of this one program, which was Last Mile. And that program would be recommended for students if you're either in your junior year or senior year and you still are looking for more funds for your college. If like you're like, let's just say you have $5,000 from your like tuition that you need to pay, they cover that. And that's really what kind of like got me through my college journey, was because of their help. So they do provide fundings, and they also provide like help with books, or even if you want a laptop for like your school, like they also provide that too. So any assistance is like what their mission is. Um,
That's
so that's
amazing. I think you're the first person that I heard from, about the Last Mile Foundation, right? That's what it's
Mhm.
called. And sometimes I see it pop up and I like sh you show up here like, oh, Brenda told me about this. But yeah, I think that's very necessary that we highlight, especially for Raices members. So thank you for covering that.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it happens all the time too. Like, it's not like there's one season where you apply and then you wait. It's more like it's any time where you're like, oh, I need tuition funds or I need help with books or even like just other stuff that you would want from like school, they cover that. As long as you apply though. Uh,
Right.
yeah. So make sure you guys apply. And yeah, I mean going onwards, that's Grace Hopper. And then what else have you been up to? Well, I also joined Raices Latina earlier this.
Congratulations on Specialty Affiliate of the Year.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yeah, so earlier I joined Raices Latina and I was meeting with a few people there because at first I was like, oh, like I really want to join an affiliate. But the thing is, it would have been nice to join Chicago, but I'm not there. So I guess I would just be there, just if you guys need anything on my
I
end.
miss
Like I'm
you.
one text away, guys. But I also try to apply for Western Washington, which is where I'm based around, like the Seattle area, but they already had their positions filled, so I don't think I was able to like kind of get myself in there. However, Wisa's Latina, I wanted to see if there was like an opportunity there, so I just emailed like either I think I LinkedIn messaged them. So I LinkedIn messaged them, and then after that, they sent me a text message saying, "Hey, like we'd love to have you like in the team." So then I just became like director of public outreach. So that honestly is
Okay, outreach, that's how I started.
yeah. Yeah. So they kind of just built a role for me because I was like, oh, I mean, I'm open to anything. Like I can definitely do anything crafty or if you guys need me to like kind of reach out to people. So they're like, oh, okay, you can just be outreach for now. And I'm like, oh, that sounds fine. So now there's this new series that we're starting and it's called
Okay.
Cafecito Con. And this is actually something I'm running. Basically, we invite other people. This would be like any levels welcome, including beginner, because I feel like it's good to hear perspectives from every single like level point in their careers and to see like what they're doing and how they approach kind of like their career path. So in those series, I kind of like ask questions on like what they currently are going on, like in their like career paths, but they also have the opportunity to present their own like journey or even stuff that they are like willing to share. So it's more like I'm preparing them to like one, they could kind of use this as a way for them to kind of explain and also make sure that they kind of get that speaking experience, public speaking, so that they can get themselves presented or even apply for like a speaker position in like conferences. And two, it's also a way for other people to kind of see like, hey, like if I'm doing it this way and this person is doing this way, maybe I could try what they are doing. So that is like the main like goal that I have in this like series.
Yeah.
Um, it's still kind of in the works, more like I am reaching out to the people who have responded to that.
Mhm.
So that will come very soon in when presentations will go for that. So yeah.
And I have to ask, because I get this question all the time being in Oasis, is it only women, Latina women?
No, it's for everyone. And we also
Ah,
have it for Latina women. I feel like most of them has been like Latina women in WESIS, but we also welcome anyone else too.
okay, awesome. So no complaints, everyone. If you're watching this, it's open to everyone. And I love that. I mean, I'm all about those type of conversations. Um, that's why I treat these as conversations. And like if we were to pick up the phone and chat, I mean, a lot of these questions I would ask you anyway. So this is kind of a peek behind the curtain for a lot of folks that don't have their networks either at home or they don't have people that work in corporate. I want to know how to get started, but the main idea is really to understand that job description on paper looks like something sometimes unattainable. Sometimes we rule ourselves out and say, oh, I'm not qualified for this. I don't meet two of the boxes. But I want them to understand, talk to a real human that does a job and kind of like understand that, hey, there's high and low points. There's things that I still don't feel like I know how to do, but here I am doing it. A big part of our careers is also surrounding ourselves with what we call a board of directors. For you so far, whether it's at Microsoft or outside, how have you how have you included different people in your board of directors, whether that be mentors, sponsors? Is there someone that has really stood out and created opportunity for you, or in those performance conversations, setting goals for yourself? Talk to us a little bit about that journey, kind of being a little bit more intentional with that board of directors for you?
Yeah, I feel like for me, it was just one person that I worked with in my team previously. This is like 2 projects ago. And she was actually like very like she was very like I'm supportive and I have your back at all times. More of a thing because
That's
we would
awesome.
have like our syncs, and every time like we're in those syncs, like it doesn't feel like it's like work as much. It feels more like she wants to know like how I'm doing. It's kind of more of a catch up, honestly. Because I feel like when you meet the person, like at first it's like, like you guys are doing work. But then as you're like kind of establishing that relationship between the person and the other, you start to feel more of a connection. It's like, oh, like, she may be my worker, like my coworker, but at the same time, like she's really cool. And like, we can just catch up and like stuff. So I feel like we've gotten to a point where we have gotten like comfortable and like talking to one another, but she was also really my advocate at all times because you got to have those people around you too because they're the ones that can back you up in like any position is saying like hey like let's just say if like there's like a point where like they're like, hey, we need someone to do this. And if she knows my skill set, she's gonna be like, hey, my coworker here, she knows this. So I can definitely loop her in this and you guys can like work on this. So it creates more opportunities for you. And I feel like she's someone that's kind of been like making sure that I am looking for these opportunities. And at the same time, she also looks out for me. There was this one opportunity that she gave me that really like was like a high level like impact. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah, because it got sent to like a really higher up. This is like manager, skip,
Mm-hmm.
another
Mm-hmm.
skip,
Mm-hmm.
and another skip. So it's like 3 skips.
Nice. Yeah.
And so it got yeah, it got shown to them. So I was a little nervous when sending the email because I'm like, oh, what if they're gonna be like, oh well, you need to make sure you send it to my admin first before, but I guess not. So when I did that, I was like, wow, like I didn't like, expect that opportunity to come up, especially at like an early stage as a EIC. But I feel like having people around you who like advocate for you and support you at all times is really what's important in the workspace and making sure that you establish connections with like other coworkers because who knows, if they know your skill set, they can always like loop you in. Even if you're not working on whatever they're doing, they're still gonna make sure that you're involved too.
Yeah, it sounds like she became a sponsor for you, right?
Yeah.
Your name when the skill set is there. I love
Mhm.
that. I love that. Love to see you thrive. Now, I want to go into a little bit into it's interesting because with you we started your journey. Hey, I was an intern there, then I was a return. Now I'm like a PM at security PM at Microsoft. So for those people that are listening and are very interested into, hey, I've always wanted to be a PM, and specifically in security, what do you have to say about the career trajectory? Where you don't have to like necessarily like expose all your goals, but at least maybe internally there, where can it lead you? Is it changing different grades, and then from there, can you branch out? Where can this role take you for career progression?
I feel like for me, well, let's start off with like what I was kind of telling my first person I worked with, because the first thing he asked me is like, what is your end goal here? Like where
Everyone
do
is,
you want to be? Like what position is like your dream position?
yeah.
And I thought to myself, and I'm like, I honestly don't know. But I feel like I got inspiration from like Mike and he's actually one of the, I believe, CTO, right? CSO, CTO of Zebra. And
Oh, yes. Shout
yeah,
out to him. They do so much for the community here.
so he's like the chief security officer is what I should say that stands for.
Yes.
And for me, I was like, I really am inspired by like Mike's like leadership, and I'm also like happy to see how involved he is with like the community. And that's something that I will really want to make sure that I have that balance. Because once you're high level, I don't know if like they even do any of those things, but when I see Mike doing that, I'm like, okay, if he can do it, then so can I. So I kind of set that specific like role, maybe like a CISO position or even like a chief security officer. But at the same time, it's like, how does that position look like in the end?
Mhm.
Like, what would I even do? Even though like I would be like in charge of like the security teams, like what is my say in that? Like am I directing it or if I'm like kind of like helping them out in like different teams? But that is like something that I wanted to do initially. Or I still like don't know where I want to be at. I haven't thought about like the next position yet. But as a PM, it takes you anywhere. Like honestly, I feel like if you have some technical knowledge, you can definitely switch to like an engineer if you want to. If anything, I have a friend of mine that is currently a PM, but she feels more like confident in like engineering. So she would want to switch to security engineer. And it's not easy to switch yet because you also have to go through the same process like applying, so it's not like, hey, let me switch here. And they're like, all right, good. Let's switch you up. No,
Yeah.
you actually still have to apply in the position. But PM positions definitely take you a lot and anywhere just because it's kind of like almost what an engineer is doing. But I feel like it's more like planning, organizing, and kind of just making sure that you have that technical knowledge in the background too. Because I know that now some roles in like different companies are kind of pushing for PMs to also have technical knowledge. So yeah.
Awesome. No, yeah, big goals. What are those? Brenda CISA of the year manifesting. It's me.
Oh
Sorry,
my
it's
God.
an inside joke. It's all about the awards we've been getting with Raices. We tend to manifest them. And yeah, so Brenda, I see that you could totally do it. Multiple directions you can take the PM role. Interesting. We talked a lot about the skills you need to thrive as a PM last time we chatted. Communication kept coming. We kept coming back to communication, communication. Also, time management was another one. After having been in this 1 year, whether it's a hard skill or a soft skill, did that change? Do you have any other ones to add? Or if you were to do this again, or if you were to tell your younger self, focus on this, learn this technology, learn this tool. Um, I have my own opinion on tools, but I'll let you chime in. What advice would you give your younger self before you were to do this as a full-time role?
Yeah. Well, the first part is, did it change? No, it definitely did not change because I still use all of those skills into what I'm doing right now. Um, it's a lot of communication because as a PM, you're like making sure that you're meeting with other people, but those people are the ones that will help you kind of like understand like where things are coming from and also answer any questions that you may have that kind of align with what you're doing in your project. So I feel like communication is still there as like one of my skills that I'm like kind of like thriving now. Time management is also another thing too, because not only am I just working on like my project, I also have other things that I'm doing with Microsoft, which one of them is the like joining an EIC group, and
Mhm.
this is a new
Yeah, I
batch.
see. Really.
Yeah, early in career. Sorry, guys. And
Good.
in
You're
the
you're talking acronyms a lot, outside of this
yeah,
conversation where we do, because I'm like, we also call out that you're like a Gen Z, so you teach me Gen Z
yeah.
slang.
So early in career, we have this team where we host events for new grads.
Hmm.
And the last one that we just did was a picnic. And I think, well, we had it at Golden Gardens. It's just like a, what's it called? A beach, basically. And we also did have this like we brought Vietnamese coffee and banh mi's, and we just kind of had people do a lunch and learn, but like learning
Right.
about other people's like work and also just kind of like yapping and chatting. So, with that being said, time management and communication are honestly still up there on my end. Something that I would tell my younger self if like I was in well yeah, I would tell you my younger self. Yes. I would basically say that it's okay to like, it's okay to not know everything because I feel like I don't feel as confident beforehand of like my own technical skills because I don't know, like I was like first like going into software engineering, and
Hmm.
when I started to learn how to code, like things were okay at first. But then once it got deeper into like data structures and all that jazz, no. No.
Trigger.
Yeah, and I was like when I got this position at Microsoft, I was like, well, how would they accept me? Like, why would they accept me and stuff? Like, I was just kind of like self-doubting. So I think like another part is like to not self-doubt and kind of just like if something comes in your way, just let it happen.
Yeah, you're there for a reason.
Uh-huh.
And this is it fair to say we call it imposter syndrome?
Yeah, it is.
And it's if this is coming from you, like you literally organized Capture the Flame at UIC, your school, and that is still a tradition there. And you were just leading so much. I mean, it's not everyone needs to be a pro at data structures to like thrive in technology, you know? Not all of us are going to become software engineers. Look at how that career is progressing. So I think people with a lot of good skill in interacting with other humans and doing cross-functional work, I think that's going to be very critical as that career path changes, for example. And I think one PMs is one of those roles that allows you to see a lot of things and interact with a lot of people. One thing I did want to ask you about, though, I've always wondered with this type of role, um, how do you get assigned projects? Maybe have you learned, is it one of those things that there's things you can do to influence the projects you're put on, or the team or the product you work on? Or is it more so you're given what you're given and you're happy you're given something and you move on?
Yeah.
Sound right
So,
there?
yeah. And sort of the past times, it was more like they assigned to me.
Hmm.
Because since I was like new and stuff, I kind of was like getting to know like where things are coming from. Now this is more like my own work stream. So this is kind of where like I'm free to kind of like do what I think is best for the program. So I kind of like assign myself some own stuff because I have my own little like Loop workspace, and Loop is kind of like Notion basically. It's like kind of like
Thank
your
you.
own workspace. Yes.
I
That's
like the notion
Microsoft
best.
Word vibes. So I use that specifically for tracking to see like if I'm meeting my own expectations. But anything like aside from my project, like if there's like extra work needed to be done, that's when like my tech lead would come in and he's like, "Hey, like is it okay if you can help me out with this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." So it's more like for my own work stream, I get things like done on my own and I kind of assign those things on my own. And then anything else aside from that, like my tech lead is the one that's kind of my go-to.
The success, how is it measured for your role? Is it totally based on how the project succeeds, on like if you release it earlier than planned? Like, do you want to talk a little bit about those metrics that we might not realize are success metrics for a PM role?
Yeah, so success metrics. If anything, it's all based on impact. So a lot
Magic word.
of
The magic word.
magic,
Impact.
yes. So anything that you're doing with what you have, like let's just say my work stream, right? Like since it's currently early, and if I'm like pushing out a lot more stuff and also making sure that everyone is kind of aligned, that's like one part of my success. Another one is definitely making sure that I am more engaged with those customers, which would be number two. Number three will probably be like kind of making things easier, kind of like there is some gaps that we may have with this program that I might need to like kind of fix. And which is why it's good to like communicate with other people from like that teams. Um, so if I think those are like the main three that are kind of like my own success if like I'm
Hmm.
making sure that I'm doing things right, but it all drives on impact and it also drives on like
Business.
hmm?
For the business success criteria. Impact.
But then we also do have like these things called Connect. It's a tool that we have to like kind of see like what are your goals and your manager kind of like make sure that you're meeting those goals too. Um and I set myself like this one goal, making sure that I have an understanding of what my program is. Two, making sure other people have that understanding. And three, making sure that vendors are more like comfortable and willing to like also make sure that they kind of share out more early stuff around. So a lot of it has to do with impact on our end. Not really performance
But
based, but it's not like performance, like not like how you're doing your work, more like how is this work that you're doing impacting like your team and
yeah.
also the whole like company. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, one of the questions we always touch on here is the whole development aspect, enablement, certifications, hands-on learning. I know when we talked, you were one of those people that said, I don't have a certification." And there's multiple schools of thought here. Where do you stand today? Has it changed? Are you more bought into the whole certification thing, or are you more hands-on all the way? I'd rather sit down with some material and absorb it, or just experience on my day-to-day work. Do you even need one for a PM?
Uh, well, this is kind of speaking from my own experience. I'm not gonna say for all PMs though.
Right, right. Speaking only from yours.
Yeah, only from my side or my side only. I don't think I need a certification at the moment. I mean, I don't think it's something required, but I know that Microsoft does offer like free certifications. I believe
Nice.
they also offer it to people externally too. So I would also like
Do you
look in.
guys have an academy or
I'm not sure, but
similar to?
I think it's like Azure Fundamentals is like
Ah, okay, yes.
just kind of getting an understanding of Azure and like what it is. I feel like doing those would be better than like getting a certification just because those are like free and I'll rather do like maybe free courses rather than like kind of like paying for a certification at the moment. Um, because I don't know when I'll need it. And also if I do need it, it's like at that point it's like, am I really gonna use this for my position? Because my team already knows how I work and like my manager does too. So I'm not sure like if I really need another skill set at the moment. But in the future, like programs in general that I would want to like be in, maybe like an MBA. That is probably my number one priority right now. But
Mhm.
I'm not sure when I'll go back just yet, just because I've been getting adjusted with my own work and just kind of like just being there too. Because I want to see where I can balance things from like work and school. So yeah, my main priority that I would want to do is an MBA. But I want to do it because I want to make sure that I advance to like newer levels. It's not gonna be like, oh, you got an MBA, all right, we're gonna put you in a manager role now. No, it's more like I have it in the back, like in my own like resume, just so that people can see like, hey, like this person did their MBA, they have like ideas from their side, and they also kind of like have some experience. And yeah, that's something that really matters to me a lot, like making sure that I have those degrees that kind of like back me up into like who I am and where I'm coming from.
I love that you're dedicated to like continuing your um academic journey. I think an MBA, it depends a lot how you use it, and there's different, again, schools of thought here into what is an MBA worth today. I do have a program for you, but unfortunately, you can't work while you do that. So take that with a grain of salt. I'll send it to you after, but it's one of those things that you're like, oh my God, this is for high achievers. I just wanted to make you aware about it, but if you
Mhm.
want to handle both at the same time, I know one of my good friends at Cisco, she completed her MBA while doing the role we do now. And I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know how she did it, but people do it all the time. So I want to encourage the audience, if you have questions, feel free to like share them now, ask in the Q&A or in the chat. We'll read them out. And then let's see. Are you going to Hacker Summer Camp this year?
No.
Summer.
I know.
No, we don't get you.
I
Oh,
know, yeah. Things are like coming up like back and forth. And other than like work, I also have my own life. And I
what? You
actually
have a life? What is that?
I have my life too. But that means that I kind of set myself some like days that I would want to be like oof slash out of office.
Yeah.
And some of them will be like going back to Chicago as one. And another one is going
Hello,
back,
yes.
yeah, going back to Japan, September.
Back
Yes.
already.
Yes.
She loved it.
Yes. And I'm gonna be there for 2 weeks. And another one is going back to my home country where like my parents used to be in, which is Peru.
Shout
And
out to Peru.
para Peru, Peru es clave. Um, and this will be around December. So yeah, I kind of have those things going on. I also am going to Grace Hopper this year again. My company
Amazing. Where
actually
is it
sponsored
this
me to
year?
go. Huh?
Where is it this year?
California. This is in Anaheim.
Okay, nice. So you're gonna stay in the West Coast.
Yeah, West Coast again.
What,
Uh,
West Coast, Best Coast?
mm, no, we still got Midwestern, Midwestern best.
You are Midwest at heart. That's awesome. So how was Japan?
I love Japan. That's why I'm coming back again.
Would you ever work there?
Um,
Like if work said, Brenda, when you're on an international assignment and you have to move to Japan,
I don't know if I would move. I think I love to visit, but I don't think moving because I feel like I had a huge culture shock back in that time. Like I became very isolated.
interesting.
Yeah, and that had to do because people there are like mainly isolated, like they don't like talk to
It's a
anyone.
more conservative culture.
Yeah. Yes.
We'll
So,
talk more after. So we do have a question from the audience. Love what you said about having to adapt. So many folks are pivoting and may have difficulty knowing how to prepare for a position or even how to test for a test. What are your recommendations on that?
how to prepare for tests for a position or even how to test a type test. So preparing for a position or even like any certification. Well, if you're looking for certification like help or so, I'm not sure if Professor Messer has anything specific on that, but I think he should because I know that he has like a Security Plus like certification like learning guide, and he takes you through all of the sections of like the content of like what you need to know and also like the home labs. And aside from that, he also has like the full on like test for you to kind of like take by yourself. And it kind of sometimes is similar to it, or it's even like harder than what the test that you would be prepared to take for would entail. But I think preparing for jobs is like the second part that I'll cover right now. Preparing for jobs, it's hard because once again, we're in like a state where like we're all we're all currently looking for positions, and there's no like positions, like there's only one position for one person in each one. And it's very hard because you're competing with like 30,000 people. And I feel like a big part of it has to do with like making sure that your resume is like good, up to date. Make sure that you have all the skills that you can even think of, like in your head, that you're like, oh, I'm making sure that I have all of this and it's like all good. And I can definitely like make sure that like I can explain what my context is in knowing these skills. Experiences do matter too, but if you don't, that is okay because you can always create your own experiences. And this would be like either if you want to get involved with orgs, like Raices Cyber, for example, like that's a huge thing to like kind of do. I feel like most of my resume had to do with organization, which is why a lot of people like, or at least like when I got interviewed, they ask a lot about your organization experiences because not only do they care about the technical side, they also care about culture. And in that culture, you got to make sure that you fit in so that your team knows how you work and how they would see you as either like an introvert or an extrovert. Would you be open to like talking to other people? Which is why it's very important to join organizations and also important for you to kind of get those experiences out of it. Um, but I think preparing for like a position or so, it has to do a lot with like your resume, but technical aspect, like if you're looking for kind of like questions and interviews, I feel like a lot of them I find it through Glassdoor. I would find some stuff on Reddit too. I feel like Reddit is like your go-to, if anything, for all of these things because um if I look for certifications and like Reddit, they're gonna be like, oh, does anyone have the like a certification link or anything that I can use for sources? And then there's like some random person that just like has a full list of like certification links. So I feel like those like resources that I kind of knew in like the back of my head at least, like Reddit, YouTube, well, LinkedIn for positions, but there are other sources of jobs that you can find there. Also, making sure that you're kind of establishing connections with HR, or at least people who are working in HR too, because they always have open positions. And if you kind of connect with them and kind of like see like, hey, like, I'm this person and I am blah, 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 and I'm looking for this position, it would be great to connect sometime. Even if like it's not open and they end up opening a position that's similar to what you want, they're gonna LinkedIn message you and be like, hey, so actually, I thought of you about this position, and I was hoping that you can apply. So,
You're
establishing,
more proactive. That's interesting. Yeah.
yeah, it's that's actually something that happened to me, by the way, which is why I'm saying this because at first I was looking for this one specific position, and this is at a company, and they only had a software engineering position, and I was like, hey, if you have any PM roles available, feel free to let me know. This was like back before like I was like kind of like getting my toes into like Microsoft. But they ended up reaching out to me by the time that I signed my offer and I'm like, "Oh, I'm very sorry, but you know, I can't, but thank you so much for thinking of me." So, yeah, that's like my main
Your
advice.
number.
Yeah.
No, that is very good advice. We do have one other question. Piggybacking on what the interviewing on the interviewing part, what has been your experience with AI interviews? Have you experienced that yet? Any tips on getting through that first gate? I think a lot of this comes down to not just an AI interview, but going through the ATS, right? That's what we call it.
Yeah, I think it's the ATS.
Yeah.
I feel like whatever is on the qualifications, whatever you're like looking or whatever they're looking for, make sure you have that on the resume. I feel like having those keywords, like those are like the sweet words that what they want to hear because either they do like a system where like they're having them look at resumes or they're actually manually looking them and making sure that you meet all of those qualifications, which they only have less than 30 seconds to look at it, each resume, just because a lot of people come in with applications. Um, Interviews with AI, I have yet to even experience, and I don't feel like experiencing them because it just seems a little funny, and I'd rather have like someone naturally like talking to me. Like this is how I want like
Yeah.
traditional interview. I wouldn't want like any AI
Do
interviews.
mine on site. So there was a virtual component, but they did arrange for an on-site interview, and there's no way to escape that.
Oh yeah, the
But it was
onsite
like years
listener.
ago, like so. And then another thing is, when I got hired, actually a recruiter found me on LinkedIn. But today, seeing how things are going, I really stand firm on you better know someone because otherwise, it's going to be very tough. Not impossible. I mean, look at me. I made it at a company without knowing anyone there, and I didn't even know this job position was open, the program that I went through, but they found me. So, what Brenda said about the keywords, you gotta optimize like your LinkedIn as well, so the right people find you to be responsive, create that network, and be proactive. Not just when you want something. That is not, if that's how
Yeah.
you treat relationships and you see this person doing
Transactional.
well and you're like, oh my God, you're doing so well. Let me call them and ask for something. No, like, people will tell if you're transactional like that. Don't
Mhm.
recommend it.
Yeah. But also joining the organizations because those organizations do end up bringing companies. And when they do bring those companies, you can assume that they have relationships with them, which is why they bring them there. So I would recommend you also going to events like Raices Cyber if they have any either webinars or even like anything interactive like on LinkedIn, or if you want to make it in person, like there are some community events that will happen around your area, most likely, like 100%, if anything. I don't think there will never be any 0% in like
Yeah.
events hosted around your
Talk
area.
to someone who most likely knows someone else that we have resources. There's a lot of us that are part of this. It's a global community. So Brenda, when does Microsoft, for anyone who's interested, right, talking about organizations and relationships, now us with Microsoft, does Microsoft have a cycle when they hire for PMs? Is it one of those things that's very ad hoc, or is it more, is there any guidance you could give us about timelines? For I know, for example, my program is hiring right now after a while they had um, kind of dismissed it for a few years, but now it's back on. So, do you have any dates like that, timeline for Microsoft PMs that you get hired?
No, so they
Whether
just
it's
come and go,
internships,
basically.
early in career?
So they come and go, but for internships, they start around like September, October, usually early. So you would expect to see that time. But for full-time positions, it just comes and goes depending on like where team needs people to kind of backfill or either just like kind of had add addition to the team.
Yeah, and if you know you want to be a PM, you should know a bunch of PMs before you apply for that role, right? So start reaching out to people, even if you don't know them. That's one way to build a relationship with if you don't know someone at a certain company. Um, and then that way you will hear about the experience of a PM at different companies too. This has been great. This has been awesome. I am so glad you're thriving, my friend. And I look forward to the cafecitos with Luis's Latina.
You guys
Those
should
are
sign up, by the
virtual.
way.
Say it again.
You got everyone should sign up, by the way, if they're
There you
looking
go.
to get
She's
more
here
experience.
recruiting. I'm trying to
Yeah.
find out, but no kidding. So absolutely, absolutely. Anything we can do to like help you promote, get the word out. Where can they find you, Brenda? Are you active on what type of socials?
I'm on LinkedIn, so feel free to reach out to me there. It's just my full name, Brenda Leyva.
Yeah, she's not hard to miss. And yeah, very much looking forward to Cafecito with Wiz Latina. And the next time we'll see each other, I mean, you're coming to Chicago, we better plan something. So,
Yeah, for sure.
okay, I'll give you a call after. But for everyone else, thank you so much for joining us. And reach out for any PM type of questions to Brenda. And then we'll see you in August. It won't be a live episode because of Hacker Summer Camp and it's August, but we will have two episodes that will be dropping from previous recordings. So enjoy those. Since I couldn't make a live one, I figured I would drop two episodes in 1 month. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, we'll see you in September with a very, very interesting guest.
Ooh,
Thanks,
sounds.
everyone. Thanks, Brenda.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.